Welcome to Snooze Tales Studio. Hello, dear listeners. Tonight, we have a gentle, heartwarming story to lull you into a world of dreams. Our tale is called The Whispering Willow, a story of friendship and dreams. Settle in, relax, and let us take you to a magical forest filled with wonder and warmth. In the heart of an ancient forest, where sunlight trickled through a canopy of thick green leaves and the air was always sweet with the scent of wildflowers, stood a grand old willow tree. This willow, called the Whispering Willow by those who knew of it, was unlike any other tree in the forest. Its long, flowing branches swayed gently even when the wind was still, and it seemed to hum with a quiet, soothing melody, as though it had stories of its own to share. Among those who visited the forest, there was a young girl named Eliza. She loved exploring the woods near her cottage, finding delight in the colorful flowers, curious animals, and the mystery of the grand willow tree that stood by a small, sparkling pond. Eliza had heard tales about the Whispering Willow, how it could talk to those who listened closely, how it granted comfort to those in need, and how its branches cradled dreams that traveled far beyond the forest. One late afternoon, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Eliza decided to visit the willow tree. She wandered through the forest, following the soft sound of leaves brushing together, until she reached the pond. The willow tree stood there, its branches swaying gracefully, as if greeting her arrival. Eliza approached, placing her hand on the rough bark of the tree trunk. "Hello, Whispering Willow," she said softly. "I've come to see if you have any stories to share with me today." To Eliza's surprise, the tree seemed to respond. The branches above rustled, and a gentle whisper echoed through the air, almost like the soft voice of a friend. "Hello, Eliza," the willow seemed to say, its branches lowering slightly, brushing the top of her head. "I am glad you came. I do have a story to share, one of friendship and courage." Eliza sat down at the base of the tree, leaning her back against the trunk, and closed her eyes as she listened. The tree began its tale. "Many years ago, before you were born, there lived a small fox named Fern. Fern was a timid creature, shy of the other animals in the forest. Though he longed for friendship, he often hid away, afraid that the others would think him too small or unimportant to notice. He lived in a cozy burrow beneath my roots, where he spent his days watching the other animals play from afar. One day, as the first snow of winter began to fall, Fern noticed a bird sitting on one of my branches. She was a robin, her feathers fluffed up against the cold, and she looked lost and weary. Her name was Rosie, and she had injured her wing, unable to fly south with the rest of her flock. Fern watched her from his burrow, his heart aching for the little bird. Though he was shy, he knew he couldn't let her stay out in the cold alone. Gathering his courage, Fern stepped out from beneath my branches and approached Rosie. "Hello," he said softly. "You look like you need some help. Would you like to stay in my burrow until your wing heals?" Rosie looked at Fern with gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "I would love that." And so, Fern took Rosie into his burrow, sharing his warmth and his food. As the days passed, the two of them became fast friends. Fern showed Rosie the wonders of the forest, the sparkling pond beside my roots, the twinkling stars that could be seen through the branches at night, and the joy of watching snowflakes drift lazily to the ground. In return, Rosie sang songs for Fern, filling the burrow with her beautiful melodies, bringing warmth and light to even the coldest nights. As winter slowly gave way to spring, Rosie's wing healed, and she was ready to fly again. Fern felt both happy and sad, happy that his friend could now rejoin her flock, but sad at the thought of saying goodbye. But Rosie reassured him. "Fern, you have given me so much kindness, and for that I will always be your friend. Even when I fly away, I will come back to see you. You are never alone." And true to her word, Rosie returned each spring, and Fern was no longer the timid fox hiding away. He had found his courage, and soon he had many friends among the animals of the forest. Together, they played beneath my branches, sang songs, and watched the stars, filling the forest with laughter and warmth. Eliza smiled, feeling the warmth of the story fill her heart. She opened her eyes and looked up at the willow's branches, swaying gently above her. "Thank you, whispering willow," she whispered. "I think Fern and Rosie are very lucky to have found each other." The willow's branches seemed to sway in agreement, the soft rustling like a lullaby. "Friendship is a gift, dear Eliza. It brings light to the darkest days and warmth to the coldest nights. Just as Fern found his courage, so too can you, with friends by your side." Eliza nodded, her eyes growing heavy as the soft rustle of the willow's branches lulled her into a sense of peace. She lay back against the tree, feeling the cool earth beneath her and the gentle touch of the willow's branches, as though the tree itself were cradling her dreams. The sun dipped lower, and the sky above transformed into a canvas of deep purples and blues. Fireflies emerged from the underbrush, their tiny lights flickering like stars brought down to earth. The forest seemed to hold its breath, wrapped in the quiet magic of dusk. The willow continued to hum its soft, soothing melody, its branches moving in a gentle rhythm that matched Eliza's breathing. It whispered of other tales, of foxes and robins, of deer and owls, of all the creatures that found solace under its branches. Eliza felt herself drifting further, the line between wakefulness and dreams blurring until it was hard to tell where one ended and the other began. She dreamed she was a fox, like Fern, padding softly through the snow. She felt the crunch of the cold beneath her pores and the warmth of friendship by her side. In her dream, Rosie flew above her, her red feathers catching the moonlight, and the forest around them was alive with laughter. She ran through the woods, unafraid, her heart light and her spirit free. The scene shifted, and she found herself sitting beside the pond, watching the stars reflected in the still water. The pond became a mirror to the sky, and as Eliza gazed into it, she saw the faces of friends, both old and new. They smiled at her, their voices blending with the whispers of the willow, reminding her that she was never alone. The dream continued, and Eliza found herself on a grand adventure. She wandered through the forest, meeting different animals, wise owls with feathers that shone silver in the moonlight, playful squirrels that offered her acorns as gifts, and gentle deer that guided her through paths hidden beneath thick vines. Each animal she met had a story to share, a lesson to teach her about kindness, courage, and the beauty of the world around them. The owl spoke of wisdom, of the importance of listening not just with one's ears, but with one's heart. It perched on a branch above her and told her that true knowledge often comes from understanding others, from seeing the world through different eyes. The deer taught her the value of gentleness, of moving with grace through the world, causing no harm and leaving behind only footprints that would soon fade. The squirrels, with their boundless energy and laughter, reminded her of the importance of play, of finding joy in the smallest of things. As she traveled deeper into the dream forest, Eliza came across a glade bathed in soft moonlight. In the center of the glade was a pool of water, shimmering like liquid silver. Around the pool stood animals of all kinds, foxes, birds, rabbits, and even a majestic stag whose antlers seemed to touch the stars. They welcomed her into their circle, and one by one, they shared their dreams with her. The robin spoke of a journey across distant lands, of mountains that touched the sky and rivers that sparkled like diamonds. The stag spoke of his guardianship of the forest, of the balance that kept all living things connected. Each story was a thread, weaving together a tapestry of the forest's magic, of the bonds that held all its creatures together. Eliza felt a warmth in her heart, a sense of belonging that was deeper than anything she had ever known. She realized that the forest was not just a place, it was a living, breathing entity, filled with dreams, hopes, and endless possibilities. The animals' dreams were now her own, and she knew that she was part of something much greater than herself. As she continued her journey, she came across a family of hedgehogs nestled in a small hollow beneath a tree. The mother hedgehog, with her gentle eyes, invited Eliza to sit with them. They shared stories of the forest's changing seasons, the first blossoms of spring, the golden leaves of autumn, and the crisp chill of winter. The young hedgehogs huddled close to Eliza, their tiny quills soft and comforting as they listened to tales of courage and resilience. One of the young hedgehogs, a little one named Pip, looked up at Eliza with wide, curious eyes. "Do you think I could be brave like Fern one day?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Eliza smiled, her heart swelling with affection for the little creature. "Of course, Pip," she said gently. "Bravery isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about caring for others, just like Fern did for Rosie. And I can already see that you have a very brave heart." Pip beamed, and the other hedgehogs snuggled closer, their tiny bodies warm against Eliza's side. She felt a deep sense of peace, surrounded by the love and warmth of the forest creatures. The whispering willow's soft melody echoed in the distance, a gentle reminder that she was exactly where she was meant to be. As the night wore on, the stars above grew brighter, and the forest seemed to come alive with a soft, glowing light. The fireflies danced in intricate patterns, their lights twinkling like 1,000 tiny lanterns, illuminating the path before her. Eliza followed the trail of light, feeling as though the forest itself was guiding her on her journey. She came across a family of rabbits, their soft fur glowing in the moonlight as they nibbled on clover. They invited her to join them, and together they shared a simple meal beneath the stars. The rabbits spoke of their love for the forest, of the joy they found in each new day, and of the importance of family. Eliza listened, her heart full, and she realized that the forest was teaching her not only about courage and kindness, but also about gratitude, for the beauty of the world around her and for the connections that made life meaningful. Eliza's journey continued as she followed the gentle whispers of the willow deeper into the forest. She came across a stream that sparkled under the moonlight, its waters clear and cool. As she knelt by the stream to take a drink, a pair of otters approached her, their eyes twinkling with mischief. They splashed playfully in the water, inviting Eliza to join them. With laughter bubbling from her lips, Eliza waded into the stream, feeling the cool water rush around her ankles. The otters swam around her, their sleek bodies gliding effortlessly through the water. They taught her how to float on her back, how to let go of her worries and simply enjoy the moment. The water was refreshing, and Eliza felt her heart lighten as she laughed and played with her new friends. After their play, the otters led Eliza to a hidden cove, where the stream widened into a small pool surrounded by ferns and wildflowers. The moon cast a silvery glow over the water, and Eliza felt as though she had stepped into a fairy tale. The otters bid her farewell, diving back into the stream and disappearing into the night, their laughter echoing softly in the distance. Eliza sat by the pool, her feet dangling in the cool water, and looked up at the sky. The stars were so bright, it felt as though she could reach out and touch them. She closed her eyes and listened to the sounds of the forest, the gentle rustling of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl, the soft croak of frogs by the water's edge. It was a symphony of life, a reminder that she was part of something vast and beautiful. As she sat there, a gentle breeze swept through the clearing, carrying with it the scent of honeysuckle and the soft whisper of the willow's voice. "Eliza," it called, its tone filled with warmth and love. "Remember, the forest is always here for you. Its magic is within you, and its dreams are yours to carry." Eliza smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. She knew that the whispering willow was right. The magic of the forest wasn't just in the trees or the animals or the stars. It was within her. It was in the kindness she showed to others, in the courage she found within herself, and in the love she felt for the world around her. Morning came softly, with the first rays of light peeking through the canopy, painting the forest floor in golden hues. Eliza opened her eyes, blinking against the brightness. The willow's branches swayed gently, as if to wish her a good morning. She felt a deep sense of contentment, her heart full with the promise of a new day. "Thank you, Whispering Willow," she said again, her voice hushed. She stood up, brushing the leaves from her dress, and gave the tree trunk a gentle hug. The bark was rough beneath her hands, but it felt comforting, like the embrace of an old friend. "Kuru Eliza," the willow whispered, its branches waving in the morning light. "Kuru, and share your kindness. Remember, true courage comes from the heart, and with friends by your side, there is no dream too big." Eliza nodded, smiling up at the tree one last time before she turned and made her way back through the forest. She felt a sense of purpose she hadn't felt before, a lightness in her step as she walked back toward her cottage. She knew that the magic of the Whispering Willow was always with her, a gentle reminder that no one is ever truly alone. The Whispering Willow stood tall by the pond, its branches swaying as the forest awoke around it. Birds began to sing, and the air was filled with the scent of fresh blossoms. The old willow watched as Eliza disappeared into the distance, knowing that she would carry its stories with her, spreading warmth and kindness wherever she went. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the forest came alive with activity. Squirrels darted between branches, gathering acorns, while a family of ducks waddled down to the pond for their morning swim. The willow observed it all, its branches swaying gently in the breeze, its roots firmly anchored in the earth below. The forest was ever-changing, yet always the same, filled with life, with stories yet untold, and dreams yet to be dreamed. Under the gentle shade of the Whispering Willow, time moved at its own pace, each moment filled with the quiet magic of friendship, courage, and the promise of a new day. The squirrels chattered as they chased each other, their tails flicking playfully, and the ducks quacked softly as they glided across the pond's surface. A pair of deer stepped gingerly through the clearing, pausing to drink from the pond, their ears twitching at the sounds of the forest waking up. The willow felt the gentle tug of a breeze, its branches swaying in time with the life that surrounded it. A young rabbit hopped out from its burrow, its nose twitching as it sniffed the air, but it bounded over to the pond, joining the ducks in their morning routine, while a family of sparrows took flight, their wings beating softly as they rose into the clear blue sky. The forest was alive, each creature playing its part in the symphony of the morning. As the sun rose higher, the light filtering through the branches of the Whispering Willow turned golden, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. The willow stood as a silent witness, watching over the creatures that made the forest their home, its branches dipping and swaying with each passing breeze. It knew each creature by heart, their joys, their fears, their dreams, and it cherished every moment spent beneath its shade. The whispering wind carried the scent of wildflowers and fresh dew, and the willow reveled in the beauty of the forest's rhythm. A group of hedgehogs emerged from beneath a thicket, the young ones following closely behind their mother as they made their way to the pond. The willow's branches lowered gently, as if to greet them, its leaves brushing softly against their quills. The forest was filled with countless stories, all woven together beneath the boughs of the Whispering Willow. Each creature had a role to play, each life adding its own thread to the tapestry of the forest's magic. The willow stood as a guardian, watching over the young forms that bounded through the clearing, the foxes that stalked silently through the underbrush, and the birds that sang their melodies from high up in its branches. The day passed slowly, the sun moving across the sky, casting ever-changing shadows across the forest floor. As noon approached, the forest grew quieter, the gentle warmth of the day lulling many of the animals into a peaceful slumber. The rabbits curled up beneath the shade of the willow, the ducks nestled by the pond's edge, and even the squirrels paused in their play, their tiny chests rising and falling with each sleepy breath. The Whispering Willow stood tall, its branches offering shelter, its roots offering comfort. It had seen many days like this one, days filled with joy and laughter, with friendship and dreams, and it knew that there would be many more to come. The forest was ever-changing, but it was also eternal, a place where life thrived and dreams took root. As the afternoon sun began to dip lower in the sky, the forest once again came alive with activity. The animals awoke from their rest, stretching and yawning, ready to continue their day. The young hedgehog, Pip, scurried over to the pond, his tiny paws splashing in the water as he joined the ducks for a drink. The sparrows returned to their branches, their songs filling the air with a joyful melody. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the whispering willow, and it whispered a soft, comforting tune, a song of the forest, of friendship, and of dreams yet to be dreamed. The willow knew that its role was an important one, to be a keeper of stories, a guardian of hope, and a place where all creatures could find solace. And so, the whispering willow continued to stand, a guardian of dreams and a keeper of stories. It knew that as long as there were those who sought comfort beneath its branches, its tales would never end. The forest, with all its wonder and beauty, would always be a place where dreams took root and friendships blossomed. Thank you for joining us tonight at Snooze Tales Studio. May your dreams be filled with the gentle whispers of the willow, and may you always find the courage and warmth that friendship brings. Good night, dear listeners.